Hey, welcome to Games Vitae. My name is Madjay. Today we are doing Crosshairs on Crowdfunding. That's us talking about games that are active or upcoming in the near future that you might be interested in. Before we get into that, please like, subscribe, comment, share, do all those things so that we can add more value to this channel and make it more interesting to you, the viewer. So, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's get started on the first game that is currently active. Okay, first off, I didn't include every campaign out there. That'd be a lot of campaigns. I really only included most of the ones that were of interest to me. And in this case, this might be a little bit of an exception. The gosh, I can't speak today. The Cats of Mont Saint Michel by Raybox Games. I am not really familiar with this campaign. It's a campaign style game, but when I was looking at it, it's an active campaign right now. It's got 3 days left. And I looked at it and I saw this deluxe version and I'm going, wow, that looks cool. So the theme around this game is that you're like swashbuckling cats in the time of the French Revolution. So it's basically anthropomorphized Three Musketeers, but the campaign style game. It's got a booklet rather than create your own map and things like that and different modules. I I personally am probably not even close to pulling the trigger on this one. It's the perfection pledge is 179, basically $180 Canadian. That is 180 Canadian. That's $133.61 American. That's a lot for a campaign game, but generally campaign games pack a lot of content. So if this is up your alley, you like anthropomorphized French revolutionaries, this might be the game for you. Like I said, it's got 3 days left, so you might want to act fast. Next up, also active, 6 days left, Bloodstones, Dwarves, and Djinn. This has commonly been referred to as Dudes on a Map. This is an expansion campaign in which you can buy the original game content, the new expansion, and I believe you can also get these tile holders, similar to card holders that you can use. I've heard a lot of good things about this game, but for some reason, every time I've looked into it, I've just never gotten through the playthrough videos. I've heard criticism about it. I've heard praise about it. It's designed by Martin Wallace, so take that for what you will. Next up is Leviathan Wilds. This is a reprint. I don't know much about this game. I remember the first campaign coming out and meaning to look into it, and I never did. But if this is your thing, and it's apparently got a new expansion, the Deepvale expansion, you've got 10 days left, so you've got enough time to look into it. It's been getting some buzz on some of the content creators. It looks good, but like I said, I haven't looked into it. Don't know enough about it to recommend one way or the other. Let's take a look at the pledge levels. Pledge levels, all in for new backers, $110. So base game, expansion. Let's see what else comes with it. Wooden tokens, deluxe component pack, mutation pack. So there's a few extra modules and components, deluxeified, I guess, that you can get for the all-in for $110. Unfortunately, that seems to be the going price for any game these days. What would we do to be 5-6 years ago? Anyway, like I said, 10 days left on this campaign, active right now on GameFound. Also active right now on Kickstarter is Rival Restaurants Sporks Out. It's a reprint of the deluxe version of the game. You could get the standard edition of Rival Restaurants right now on Amazon, on their website directly, but the standard edition of the game goes up to 6 players. The Kickstarter edition of the game, which I have, goes up to 8 players. It also has deluxified components and organizational trays. So if you're interested in this game, and I've been meaning to give a review on this game. I think it's a very fun game, but I do have some issues with it. If you are interested in this game, and it is a blast to play with multiple players, the more players, in my opinion, the better. But if you are interested in Rival Restaurants, I would not settle for the standard edition. I would go for the deluxe edition, get the deluxe content, and go from there. That being said, you can get everything, including the first expansion and the current expansion, Sporks Out, in this campaign for, let's see here, where's the pledge levels? Pledge levels right here. You can get everything for, I believe, $124. And that's all the content stuff. You can go even more and get acrylic standees, which I don't think that's necessary. It's not like you put a hurting on the cardboard standees in this game. You can also get sleeves and things like that. I don't think that's necessary. If you're interested in the full bundle, it's $124. That being said, you can get the expansion that has already been out, the Back for Seconds, which they're advertising. If you get the current expansion, Sporks Out, and Back for Seconds together, that's $25 each. You can get the Back for Seconds expansion on Amazon for a couple bucks, maybe $3 less, maybe $4. I'm not sure, and that's regular price. If it went on sale, I'm sure it'd be even less. But take that for what it is. It's a good game. Like I said, I have some issues with it, but you have a few days to look into it. 10 days. So that's Rival Restaurants Sporks Out. Okay, now we're getting into campaigns that have not yet launched. The first one is Pest. Pest starts tomorrow. Today is August 26th. This starts on the 27th. Pest, I briefly looked into and never looked into it enough to say, oh, I want that game. And when I was looking at these campaigns, I kind of thought to myself, oh, I don't have time to look into it. And then I scrolled down the page. The game looks pretty solid. I don't know. I can't vouch for the replayability of it because I haven't played it. But it's got an interesting action selection system where you have this 3x3 grid. And depending on where you place your marker, you can get 2 actions based off the intersection of the 3x3 grid. So if you put it in the middle, you get the middle action from the top and the middle action from the side. So each time you use your action selection, you'll get 2 actions depending on which place on the grid you set your thing. So you've got worker placement, you've got that action selection going. It's got an interesting like a political aspect to it and things like that. I haven't played it, like I said, but when I was looking through it to preview this campaign, it caught my eye. I don't know what kind of content the expansion adds. I just was looking at the base game. So Pest launches in, well, by the time this gets up, it probably will already be launched. Next is also launching tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, Barrage, the legendary box. Now, I have no idea if this is just a storage solution for it all, or if you can get the storage solution pre-packaged with the original game and all of its expansions and content. There have been a bunch of things that come out for Barrage. The original campaign, the 5 to 6 player expansion, and the original campaign also had what they call the Lee Water expansion. They recently, in the past year or so, had some extra maps came out that was a separate campaign. And now we have the legendary box with yet more content for the game. This is a heavy game. So if you're a light gamer, you might want to think twice before you dive into this. Look into it. Make sure this is something you can get to the table and enjoy. I was interested in this game before the legendary box came out, but with it coming out, I am still interested in getting this game, especially with this legendary box if it contains all the content and if it makes it such that it is affordable. Some of these large box content solution type things that come prepackaged actually are more expensive than buying the individual games and content separately. The exception was Everdell, which is I've got up there the complete collection. It was actually a very affordable situation, and it makes sense to make it affordable because by providing a large box solution, you're eliminating the cost of the individual boxes, which is more expensive than the large box. That being said, when Starling Games did the complete collection, they got a lot of blowback because they're making the previously available content plus 2 new expansions with a large box solution and storage included for a price that the previous backers felt cheated. That's a whole other issue, and I've been on the other side of that as well because while I got the complete collection, I got the canvas collection before the big box solution, and then what happens the second I got my content, they announced the big box solution, and the deal that they're brokering on that is incredible. Do I feel cheated? Oh, yeah, but I got my game. I got to play it. So take it for what it is. If Cranio makes this such that it is a good deal to backers, I think you should buy it. If it is an ungodly amount, you got to realize that some of this stuff, you just have to say, this isn't a good deal. Yes, it's crowdfunding, but it is not wrong to look for good bargains on crowdfunding. So hopefully Barrage turns out to be a game which we can get a good price on a good game and make it such that we would feel good about adding it to our collection. So Barrage starts on Wednesday. Runar also starts on... No, this one starts on Thursday. I didn't know much about this game before I looked at previewing it. This, they call it Last Chance, but it looks like it is deluxifying some components, and I looked through it, and it looks very interesting. It's made by Ludus Magnus, but as I thumbed through it, something that really did catch my eye is that the miniatures on this are delightful. I mean, they are really well done. I like them a lot. They're whimsical. They are fairly well detailed. It's kind of what you'd expect from Ludus Magnus, but you've got deck building, hand management. It looks like you probably have some resource stuff going on. Anyway, I don't know if they have pledge pledge levels up yet or not. Sometimes they do on these campaigns, sometimes they don't. It doesn't look like they do. I can't speak to the affordability of this game. So if you're interested in Runar and the deluxifications, that launches on Thursday, August, what is it? 29th, August 29th. Next up, Raw. This is a reprint of the Pharoah edition of the game, as well as some new games and expansion material. So you've got Raw, the Pharoah edition that's coming back. You've got the Traders expansion, which adds some new tiles. This is a game that's been around for a long time and got just a wonderfully beautiful looking update with the Pharoah edition from 25th Century Games. You also have a raw and write version of the game, and you also have another game called Ratzia, which looks like an anthropomorphized take on the game. I don't know exactly how it will play or what the difference in gameplay will be, but all of those things are coming active. I did a little digging on this. This is launching September 3rd. So be ready, September 3rd. If you missed out on the Pharoah edition and the scalpers on this, I saw somebody trying to sell this for $200, and I'm sorry, I'm not paying $200 for a game I can get for $80. Whether it turns out to be $80 in this campaign after a reprint, I don't know. But either way, Raw, the Pharoah edition, its new expansion Traders, Raw and Write, and Ratzia are going to be live September 3rd. Cyberpunk 2077, the board game. There was a come-on version of this game. I don't know what the differences are. I don't know how they relate. But Cyberpunk 2077 is launching in 7 days. Well, by this point, 7 days. By the time you see this, 7 days. But right now it's 8. Whether we have some information here, you've got, obviously, if it's this kind of game, you've got to have minis, right? Tactical action game. Don't know much about this game. Don't know much about the video game. But you look at the components, it looks like they're sparing no expense. I don't know much about the company that's making it, but if you're interested in Cyberpunk 2077, the board game, not the come-on version, this is Go On Board. It is launching on, looks like September 3rd also. So September 3rd, Cyberpunk 2077, the board game. Okay, Puerto Rico Special Edition. This is a game that has also been out, like Raw was, for a long time. Puerto Rico has got a huge following among board gamers. Some I've known people that got it that didn't like it, but this has a game with reputation, and it is starting on September 12th. It looks like they've added some things to the game that wasn't in the original, like this boat with the individual crates and things like that. This is an Awakened Realms rendition, just like Awakened Realms redid Castles of Burgundy. It's redoing Puerto Rico as well. It's got some... I don't know if it's adding anything other than deluxifications to it, like... Castle of Burgundy did with the Vineyards expansion, but the deluxifications looks like you're getting some double layer boards, the boat with the crates. It's insert and organizational materials for the box. Increased tile sizes. Okay, that's good. Anyway, new updated art. Miniatures. Don't really know what role the miniatures would play in a game, but I haven't really delved into Puerto Rico. So you've got the miniatures of the things rather than wooden blocks and cubes, you actually have crates that coordinate with that. Interesting. Lots of fluff on this. Don't know whether that would improve the gameplay of Puerto Rico or not. For those of you who have played Puerto Rico, this is something that you'd have to make a decision on and determine if it's right for you. So that is on September 12th. Puerto Rico Special Edition on GameFound. Emberleaf. This is done by Frank West, the same people who do the Isle of Cats. This is his latest thing. I have not looked into it. It's coming live on September 17th. It says, rise from the forest floor, clear dangerous areas, and rebuild your home in this card, dancing, and tile placement game for 1 to 5 players. One thing about Frank West that you have to remember is when he does a campaign, he does it right. He has that thing organized out, and he's eliminated the hitches generally before you even see the announcement for the coming campaign. I don't know much about this game. I looked into it briefly. I'm not really sure what he means by card dancing, but a lot of his games like Race for the Raft and the Isle of Cats deal with tiles or polyominoes and things like that. It would be worth at least investigating. I think that Frank West puts out a quality product whenever he goes about his campaigns. So Emberleaf, September 17th. Deliverance, Council of the Fallen. This is an expansion to the game Deliverance. I looked into it briefly when the original campaign was there. I kind of like the theme. I've actually thought up a game very similar to that that I've never developed, but not similar in gameplay, but in theme. This is the expansion to it, and this is a Kickstarter campaign that does have some information up already. Just a little bit. It advertises the community on Discord and Facebook and getting email updates. It doesn't really tell you much about the expansion, but if you're familiar with Deliverance, I think it's worker placement. I don't know much else about the game. But it may also have some campaign elements as well. This is launching September 24th. So coming up soon. This is a Vital Lacerda game starting on September 26th. Speakeasy. Speakeasy, Vital Lacerda has a winning partnership with Ian O'Toole. Ian O'Toole has some astounding board game art. The fact that you say Lacerda game kind of automatically has a certain connotation with it. I don't know the intricacies of this game, but generally the Lacerda games you can spend a whole video previewing as to whether something is coming up. But this Kickstarter page actually does have a lot of information in. Set in the Roaring 20s, Prohibition and your mobsters. I personally don't get into games in which you take on the roles of organized crime. I just don't. I want to have a game in which you're playing a good person doing good things. That's just me. If you get into that, that's fine. But I passed on Mob Big Apple, Scarface 1920. I passed on those games mainly for that reason. I didn't want to be playing a game with my kids and hey, you can start a brothel. It's just maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but that's just not something I'm interested in. That being said, that doesn't mean that the art and gameplay and mechanics and presentation don't catch my eye. This is something that definitely does catch my eye. I'd be interested in learning about the gameplay. Yeah, but Vital Lacerda, generally the Eagle Games line, Eagle Griffin games, they generally pack a pretty good price tag. So that being said, launching September 26th is Speakeasy. Okay, Above and Below. This doesn't have a launch date, but when I did a little searching, I've got a friend in my neighborhood that really loves Above and Below. I did a little searching. The Red Raven is expecting to launch this in September. So whether they actually get to it or not, I don't know. No one knows until they launch it. But this is a standalone sequel to Above and Below. I don't know if that means you won't be able to integrate it into the base game or not, or if it just is completely separate and set in the same world, which is kind of odd. I think a lot of their games, Above and Below, Near and Far, all these different games, I think they're all set similarly. I might be wrong on that. I haven't played them, but anyway, I told my friend about this, and he was really excited. So he's keeping an eye on that. If you sign up to follow in advance, you can get a free gift. So if you're into Above and Below Haunted is set to launch sometime in the month of September. Cloudspire by Chip Theory Games. Cloudspire Harbinger. It looks like this is adding some expansions or factions to the game. And this is a Game Found page. It's got a lot of information for it, and I don't know much about this game. It's a Chip Theory game. It seemed to have gotten some good buzz. I don't know whether it deserves it or not. So Cloudspire is launching when? I had it up at this part. I think it is also starting in September. Maybe it's at the bottom. I know I looked it up. That's why it's here in this part of the thing. So if you're interested in Cloudspire, it is set to start sometime in September or early October. Okay, next up is Tikal Legend. This is the 25th anniversary of the game Tikal. Tikal by Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling. Yeah, there we go. And it says it's a brand new game, and it's built upon the same mechanics of the original Tikal, but apparently they've kind of revamped it and added some bells and whistles. I'm really impressed by some of these Kickstarter pages starting to add some more preview information rather than you only find out once it launches. So it is a deluxeification, revamped version of Tikal. It's launching on October 22nd, so keep your eyes open for that one. Yet another expansion for Root. Root, the newest expansion, which we have no information on, is coming to you in October of 2024. Not much to say about that, just new factions. Raising Robots, Friends expansion. This is a game that I was actually kind of surprised. It really kind of got some good buzz. Not that Navu Games doesn't put out good stuff, but I didn't really anticipate this game, making it really big. But it's gotten some buzz from some pretty well-known content creators. So if you're interested in Raising Robots, it doesn't have a release date. It's coming up supposedly soon in 2024. So sometime this year. Not all these campaigns are we even have that much information on, but I'm making you aware of it so you can be on the lookout for it. Lairs by Kids Table Board Gaming. I've got, 3 games by Kids Table Board Gaming and 3 games by their sister company, Burnt Island Games. They put out a really good games. Lairs is a 2-player game where you're kind of designing a labyrinth for your opponent to get through, and you're trying to get through theirs. And it's kind of like, it sounds like it's like a more accessible dungeon crawler in a way. I'm actually kind of interested in seeing this. I've seen uh, bits and pieces of it. I think it's launching this year in 2024, but I wanted to put this up front so you can be aware of it. It's, like I said, two-player game that all the other games I have by them are multiplayer, more than two-player. So this will be a new thing for me to see from them. I don't know whether my finances are going to permit me on that, but like I said, I'm always interested in their stuff. So Lairs by Kids Table Board Gaming. Avatar Journey of Aang by Bad Crow Games. Okay, this is going to be a cooperative press your luck dice building type game. Beyond that, I don't not really sure how it all comes together. Whether it's like area control, because I mean, look, you got a map here. It's either some form of worker placement as well, or area control or something. If you got a map, but who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I actually kind of like this here. They show you, where it is on complexity. It's somewhere right between family level and complex games, right between relaxing and competitive, but a little bit skewed toward the luck side rather than strategic play. Variable player powers, it looks like. Adjustable difficulty. Okay, interesting. So you've got this coming up. We don't have a launch date yet. So just know that it's on the way. Whether it comes out this year at the beginning of next is really the question. So Avatar Journey of Aang. Next, we have a blank screen. There we go. The Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation. Apparently, this is a classic board game, which I'm not very familiar with, interestingly enough, and I love Lord of the Rings. That being said, I don't generally pursue games based on IPs. For me, it just kind of, I don't know, it maybe I think that it like ruins the enjoyment of it or something like that. But this looks like an interesting game. I've never played the original, and anyway, it looks like it's a revamping reprint, and it doesn't really give you a lot of information here. So no launch date here either. So upcoming, that's all I can tell you. This particular screen that just went blank on me. There we go. I don't know anything about it. What brought it to my attention is who's publishing it. Avalon Hill. I don't think I've seen Avalon Hill in the crowdfunding space before. Maybe I've just missed it, but Avalon Hill has been responsible for some classic games over the years. Diplomacy, Acquire, Titan, just a whole bunch of these very classic games. And here we have a game that kind of, I mean, just the appearance looks cool. I'm kind of interested in knowing more about it. Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer. Interesting. Second game coming up soon from those designers. I don't know much more about it. So let's see here. Kind of interested in it now. Screens. Okay, so some hidden type action stuff. This is something I encourage you to take a look into. They've got well-known designers and a very well-known publishing company. So take a look at it, see what you can find out. If it interests you, this should be launching also this year. Whether it gets put off till next year or not, I don't know. But I think it will definitely be this year, 2024. That was Asara. Sorry, Asara. Inheritance. This, I looked into it. It doesn't really seem that interesting to me. The cover art is really what kind of drew me in. But then when I started looking into the game, I think you've got variable, different card things going on, whether it's tableau or card play. I'm not sure. Endless replayability. You always got to raise your eyebrows at that one, don't you? Each time you visit the city, don't expect the same to stay the same. So maybe it's worker placement at these different locations. I don't know. Anyway, Inheritance by Numble Games. Numble Games. Don't know when that's launching, but again, keep an eye out for it later this year. Foxpaw by Godot Games. This has a lot of Harry Potter-ish themes, but in the comment section, somebody tried to corner him on it. They say Harry Potter doesn't own the copyright to all things magical or a magical school. So this is based off a magical school. You have different houses, and it looks like it's going to have a base game, expansion. Let's see here. Worker placement, they say wizard placement, prisoner's dilemma, and resource management game. The art looks good. Don't know much about the gameplay. I think they try and sell you on that Harry Potter-like feeling. You even have same colors for the houses, red and yellow. There's the Ravenclaw colors. These are different colors, but I think they've got some other houses in the expansion that are that way. I'm not going to criticize the game based on whether they're just a Harry Potter knockoff. The bottom line is, will the gameplay stand up? It doesn't really matter whether they adopt a magical school theme or not. Does the gameplay hold up? And I think that's what most people are going to be looking for. I think this would be a game that I'd like to look more into. Who knows? Maybe I can get them to send me a review copy or something. Anyway, Foxpaw coming up sometime this year as well. Star Trek Ascendancy from Gale Force 9. This is one of two games that are coming up soon. I don't know when this one's coming out, whether this one comes out first. I think it does, because I think the other one, which will come up to, it comes out in 2025. I think this has been a game before. I'm not sure. I haven't played it. I think it has. It's got some reviewers here, but it introduces new material. So this might be a definitive edition for Star Trek Ascendancy. Like I said, I don't really get into IP games. Maybe this is great and I'd love it. And maybe I'm cheating myself, but Star Trek Ascendancy, The Final Frontier, coming out sometime this year, hopefully. Colosseum and Colosseum Ave Titus. This is by Fantasia Games, who is in the midst of trying to fulfill Unconscious Mind. I know, because I am waiting for that one. As well as they have a sister company now that does supposedly more family-friendly ones, and they crowdfunded Flow this past year, which is another project they're doing. So I'm guessing that they're waiting to do this campaign for the Colosseum reprint and Ave Titus in after that gets underway. That's just my guess. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know. But Colosseum is a game that has, when they're redoing it now, they're going to have updated rules, new modules, and deluxe components. Whereas the Ave Titus is going to be a standalone game, not an expansion. So both of them, Wolfgang Kramer. We've got a lot on here that is that he's putting his name on. So it says it's going to launch in 2024. When in 2024 will be the question. So Colosseum and Colosseum Ave Titus for 2024 on GameFound. We have Wish. Wish by the Gamerspark. Don't know anything about this game at all. It says coming this autumn, so it should be sometime between now and I'm guessing early November. It 1 to 4 players. Says step into the enchanting realm of Wish, a thrilling game where you embody one of 4 mighty djinns, each with unique abilities. That told me nothing. So if you're interested in the game art, keep your eyes open for it. An Age Contrived. This, I remember seeing the original Kickstarter for it. It looks like we have a folklore and pilgrimage expansion. So new characters in addition to the engine building and fantasy gods. Don't have a launch date for this either and no more information. So keep that in mind. Venus Survivors. It is a standalone to Cities of Venus, the original game Cities of Venus, which was on crowdfunding. I remember it coming up. I looked into it initially and then just kind of lost interest. This is one of those pages that does have more information. So if you are into the game Cities of Venus, this will give you some more information for it. Moving on. Another Garfield Games campaign. This is Skara Bray and a separate game called The Anarchy. 2 brand new standalone strategy games from the designers Shem Phillips and Bobby Hill. This one also gives you a lot of information on the background of the story, the setting, gives you, looks like, yep, it does give you access to the rulebook. So it will give you that as well as links to play it on Tabletop Simulator. So doesn't give me a launch date for this one. I wonder if I refresh if they've updated it. Nope. This might be coming sooner. It might be coming later. So keep your eyes open for it if you're a fan of Garfield Games. Clans of Caledonia. Industria. So we have an expansion to the original Clans of Caledonia. Again, remember when that one came out. I did not back that one. No information on this. So it is building on that original game of Clans of Caledonia. What it adds, I don't know. Kind of hurrying through these last ones. Northgard, Uncharted Horizons. Northgard is by Open Sesame Games, who did the original Northgard, but they also did the reprint and revamping of, what was it? I backed it even. Cyclades. So Cyclades is in the process of being published and ultimately distributed. But Northgard is an expansion to the Viking 4X games, as it says, with new modes, new clans, new creatures, and more. Sounds like it was already more, including solo play. So I don't know much about Northgard, but I want to say it was originally based off a video game. I might be wrong on that. No. Anyway, if you know about Northgard, you know. So Northgard, Uncharted Horizons, coming soon. Moving through these last few, this is Mad Kala. Mad Kala is a Wonderlands war game. I've got Wonderlands War behind my father's work there. This is a separate standalone game. You've got not much information about how the game plays other than theme. Don't know if that's coming this year or not. The reason I say that is I also have another game on here that is listed in the upcoming games, and that is Bloodstone. Bloodstone was the MOBA-based game that originally launched when it was under Skybound when Druid City was partnered with Skybound Tabletop, but now it will be a Druid City only title. But it has been rumored and awaited by people to relaunch for a long time. So since that time, Druid City Games has launched Tidal Blades Part 2, Rise of the Unfolders. They launched a reprint campaign with a mini expansion for Wonderland's War. And now they've got Mad Kala coming up. Whether it comes up this year or early next year, I don't know. So I don't know the fate of Bloodstone, but it's still on the back burner, it looks like. So keep that in mind. Mad Kala is coming up. Bloodstone is still in the works, supposedly. We have Arkham Asylum, the deck building game. You are talking about taking on roles, asymmetric roles of the Batman villains in Arkham Asylum. I wonder how deep this is going to go in with regard to what characters will be available, how well the decks are, whether there'll be expansion material to build the decks, like a typical deck building game. But again, it's a situation where, yeah, they're comic books. People play bad guys in games all the time. It'd be interesting rather to play Gotham City's heroes from a deck building standpoint. Don't know. Yeah, I shouldn't get started on that. Anyway, Arkham Asylum doesn't have a launch date. I'm guessing this is launching this year. So, Everdell Duo. It's a 2-player version of the Everdell system. We've got it's a campaign, co-op and solo. Interesting. This campaign will also give you the opportunity to buy oversized cards for the original Everdell core and expansion games. So doesn't have a launch date here. They've done a few things since their last crowdfunding campaign. They did Far Shore, which I think went straight to retail. They did Welcome to Everdell, which is kind of a slimmed down version. I'm not quite sure, where they stand on future crowdfunding products, but apparently Everdell Duo is going to be one of them. I had a rather large ordeal regarding my Everdell Complete collection when it was delivered. So you can look that up on my channel, but take that for what it's worth. Everdell Duo is a 2-player version that is specifically designed for 2 players of Everdell, coming up sometime soon. Okay, just a few more. Lands of Evershade, Q4. That means it is launching this year. So I think that they will get the Puerto Rico campaign launched and done before they bring this into play. So I'm guessing that this will probably not happen until like late November, early December, personally. I might be wrong. It might launch sooner. But I've never seen Awakened Realms overlap their games too much, overlap their campaigns too much. Maybe I'm being forgetful, but I personally think they're not going to overshadow something as big as Puerto Rico with the Lands of Evershade. So look for this toward the end of the year. Gale Force 9, the second game by them on this list for Dune, the Kwisatz Haderach edition. It's going to be the definitive edition of the old game from like the late 70s, Dune. I'm sure many of you recognize this cover art from the reprint that Gale Force 9 did of it earlier. This is going to be the bigger, badder, all the bells and whistles. This is going to be in 2025. So if you are a big fan of Dune, and this is not Dune Imperium, it is not Dune Imperium Uprising. This is Dune, the original cutthroat, diplomatic, dudes on a map conquering type game. It's not a light game. It's rather involved. So if you like all things Dune, I highly recommend you looking into this first before buying it. You don't want to buy a game that is just way and above what you are looking for the experience on. I highly doubt that this game is going to have the art that mirrors the movies. So you're not going to see Timothy Chalamet, uh, Rebecca Ferguson, uh, Christopher Walken as the Emperor. You're not going to see that. I think you're going to see the more classical style art that is more reminiscent of Pulp Fiction. So that is going to be in probably early 2025, which also leads me to believe that the Star Trek Ascendancy will probably be this year. Last but not least is Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, The Crypt of Kronos, coming in early 2025. So you've got the Tomb Raider IP, which was originally a video game, and it doesn't really tell you much beyond that. So keep in mind that that's something you should be looking out for if you like the Lara Croft Tomb Raider IP. I think I had another one up here earlier. It's an expansion to the Alan Quatermain Lost Cities game, but it looks like I've lost the tab. So know that if you are interested in that game, that it should be coming up. I'm guessing in 2024, not 2025. But again, I don't know anything about that game. If you're interested in it, just keep aware of that. And that is all the games that are in the crosshairs of crowdfunding. Please, if you know of any other games that I should have mentioned here, let me know in the comments and I will try and add it to my next video. Until then, I've been trying to come up with something I should say at the end of every video. The only thing I can come up with, especially when it comes to crowdfunding, is please live within your means. Enjoy the games that you have and keep playing. Thanks. See you next time.